Hey fam, what's good? What's good? I hope this show well and keeping safe. Welcome back to another one. Welcome back to another one. Right. So, you know what? I am a little bit sick, guys. So, you know what? If my voice goes away, like while I'm speaking, my apologies, right? But yeah, it is what it is. So, without wasting your time, let's get into this breakdown. So, hey, you know what? We can see that we had a beautiful shift on this beautiful pair called the DXY, right? And you know what? The DXY is basically the pair which I am, you know what? This is basically the pay which I am using as a indicator to where I can potentially see the Nasdaq heading to. Okay, so the DXY, we can clearly see that we had a beautiful shift back towards the downside. Right, let's look at market structure. Now we can clearly see that we have that high, lower high right over there. Looking at our lows, we have that low, we have a lower low right over there as well. Right now, like I always say, we don't just move in one upline, right? Or we just don't move in one downline like that as well, right? The market finds itself moving in impulses, correction, impulse, correction, impulse, corrections, right? That's a bull market. In a bear market, the exact same thing, right? Impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse, correction, etc. Right? So here we can clearly see that we are bearish in market structure. And you know what? With us creating this lower low, I'm expecting us to have some sort of a pushback towards the upside, right? Looking at this little correction we find ourselves making with previous price action, right? All I'm going to simply find myself doing is just box out that area right there, which is coming through as my sell side liquidity, right? And with this being my sell side liquidity, you know what? I'm looking at it as we have liquidity below price over here, so we can potentially see price have that shift back towards the upside, right? A point of interest which we find ourselves pointing out a few weeks ago as well is basically this little fair value gap we have found ourselves creating right over there as well. You know what? So I won't be surprised if we can see price come all the way back down, back into the fair value gap, and then have some sort of initial shift back towards the upside, right? I would actually favor that to find itself happening, right? Some sort of a pushback to the upside. So if I can maybe just get out my Fibonacci from the high to the low, right? All I'm expecting price to do is to come from this beautiful, beautiful discounted area back into a premium area. Fam, listen, if we're going to find ourselves having a pushback to the downside, just adjust your Fib wherever that pullback is going to find itself coming through, right? But ultimately, I would just like to see us have some sort of a shift back towards the upside. All right. So we can also see that this over here is an order block which is coming through, a BOB which is coming through right over there, right? So with us basically boxing out that area right there, this will basically be a point of interest to where I would like to see the DXY find itself heading back into. All right. This is where I would like to see the DXY find itself heading back into. So, you know what? That is literally it when it comes down to the DXY. You know what? I don't necessarily find myself looking at the lower time frame, as I just want to see what is happening with volume, right? Where can we potentially see ourselves head back into? All right. So, going to the Nasdaq, right? Going to the Nasdaq. Hey, if you guys have any questions when it comes down to the DXY, make sure to leave it in the comment section, right? And yeah, let's get into this beautiful pair called the Nasdaq. So the Nasdaq, we basically said that we wanted to see some continuation longs finding itself happening, right? And we can see that we had some beautiful continuation longs finding itself happening, right? I was basically pointing out this inversion fair value gap right over here, and I wanted to see price have some sort of initial bounce from this area onwards, right? Me, Diego, hey, you know what? I found myself having 4 L's inside this area, right? 2 was actual trades, which I found myself taking, and then 2 was this trades, which I found myself monitoring, right? On Thursday and Friday, I found myself taking some L's on this beautiful pair called the Nasdaq, right? So yeah, you know, we can see beautiful, beautiful volume that was just simply finding itself being pushed to the upside. Now, over here, we can see that we had a closure above our inversion fair value gap, which is quite concerning to me, right? Because yeah, you know, this will simply just mean that we can see a further continuation move back towards the upside, right? As I am just simply finding myself moving with market structure. But you know what? At the same time, I'm also like, I do not like what is happening. I still want to see some downside momentum, right? So if I can maybe just go on the monthly time frame, and if we can find ourselves on the monthly time frame, you know what, we still have 12 days and 13 hours for this candle to find itself closing. If we would find ourselves having this bullish closure, yes, you know what, I would then confidently say that we can see that shift back to the upside, right? But if we're gonna find ourselves having some sort of a bearish closure, then you know what, I would still like to see us fill up that wick right over there, because you know what, we have literally found ourselves having, you know what, from opening 2,000 pips towards the downside, and then you know what, almost like, I think, yeah, 2,000 pips back up as well. So that is a whole lot which found itself happening throughout, you know what, just this month, right? A lot. That is honestly a lot. All right, but nonetheless, weekly time frame, right now I'm simply having my eye out on this area right over here, and I will simply box it out just like that, right? This is just simply me covering this inversion fair value gap we have created right over there, as well as this this normal fair value gap we have created, and the inversion fair value gap we have created right over there as well, right? So get that flip out from that high all the way to that low, right? This 0.79 area is basically a point of interest to where I would like to see us have some sort of initial rejection, right? A beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rejection from where we are with current PA, right? But now the thing that we can see on the daily time frame on this beautiful pair called the Nasdaq is that we have found ourselves just been shifting towards the upside, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, whole week, just closing some bullish candles, right? Now with us basically, you know what, creating this, nothing to stress about. I'm expecting us to have a beautiful short when it comes down to this beautiful pair called the Nasdaq, and this is what I currently have my eye out on. All right, so looking at our daily time frame, if I maybe can just adjust this and just leave that right there, right? The fee value gap, you know what, looking at what we have with current PA, I can simply see that, you know what, we have actually found ourselves creating what did we find ourselves creating right there? We have found ourselves creating some beautiful, relatively equal highs right over there. So this simply means that we do have liquidity resting above this area right over there, right? So can we find ourselves taking out liquidity and then have that shift back towards the downside? That is exactly what I would like to see happen on this beautiful pair called the Nasdaq, right? Because we can clearly see that we did have this beautiful gap right over there. Maybe if I can just remove the noise above, you guys can always just go back and you know, watch that right there. But right over here, we have found ourselves creating a gap, and if we can basically see price close up this gap, this is basically where I would like to see us have a beautiful short back towards the downside, right? I was actually looking at the shorts to be quite off a, you know what, I wanted to see us create that lower low, right, from where we were at PA right over there, right, to create that lower low. But as if where we are currently with PA, all I will just simply find myself doing is grab that fib from the low to the high, right? You know what, once again, if we are going to find ourselves having that shift back to the upside, you adjust your Fibonacci, right? But currently we can see that the high is coming through right over there, and you know what, I would like to see us come back to the downside, back into this discounted area, as we can previously see that, you know what, we also found ourselves creating a beautiful volume imbalance right over there as well, aka a gap, right, which is lining up within an actual discounted area. So this is a beautiful area to where I would also like to see us come all the way back down on this beautiful pair called the Nasdaq, right? Primarily for this week, I want to see some shorts finding itself opening up, right? It won't be those actual lower lows which I was expecting, right? But at least some sort of an actual pullback, simply because currently we can see that price did find itself having a closure above the body of this last up close candle right over there. Look at that. Right, we had a closure above. So for me, Diego, that is us basically changing the market structure from this bear market back into a bull market, right? So can we find ourselves creating that higher high, and you know what, what comes after a higher high? A higher low, right? So can we find ourselves creating that actual higher low for a potential further continuation move back towards the upside? Or can we find ourselves having that shift back to the downside, change market structure to find ourselves having that actual further continuation move back towards the downside, right? That's a question. What do you think? What is your actual analysis when it comes down to that? But ultimately, I am prepping for some beautiful, beautiful shorts to find itself opening up over the course of this week. All right. And just looking at that volume imbalance, price have found itself creating right over here. You know what? Let's look at what is happening over there. So here we can clearly see that, you know what? We find ourselves having a what? A high, higher high, and then the market basically find itself creating a lower low right at that low right over there. If I can maybe just be a little extra right there, we find ourselves creating a lower low all the way back down there. But ultimately, you know what, we can basically see that we did find ourselves creating a beautiful, beautiful breaker right over there. So if I maybe can just box it out just like that, you know what, that right there is my breaker. Right, that right there is my breaker. So I would actually like to see us come all the way back up, back into this breaker and have some sort of an actual shift back towards the downside, right? If I can maybe just box it out as my breaker, just like that. So for a further continuation bull run, I will look at this region right over there for a nice little shift back towards the downside, right? What is current PA telling us? Current PA on the H4 time frame, we are still bullish in market structure, right? So I can't find myself looking for any shorts when it comes down to what we are finding ourselves having, right? We can simply see that we had a nice little fake out from this previous order block we find ourselves creating right over there, close below, close back above. Now we are back for that actual retest, right? So can we basically see a gap towards the upside, finding itself opening up on this beautiful pair called the NASDAQ? And with us basically having that gap towards the upside, I would like us to have then some sort of a closure below the gap, retest the actual gap, and then have some sort of an actual dip back towards the downside, right? My first point of interest when it comes down to this beautiful pair called the NASDAQ will basically be this lovely, lovely down close candle we have found ourselves creating right over there. And if we are going to look at current PA, you know what, that right there is 400 pips back towards the downside. That is more than enough playground for me to catch a few pips, right? So that right there is basically my beautiful outlook on this beautiful pair called the NASDAQ, right? If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to drop it in the comment section, right? What is your bias? I would love to know that as well, right? And other than that, fam, you know what? Have a beautiful week of trading, safe trading. Please make sure that you use money management, and I will see you guys on the next one. It's me, your boy D. I'm out.